I take it all back. I really, really, really do. About a year ago, when Subaru revealed the new WRX, I jumped on the hate bandwagon like everyone else. Shame on me. Shame for shame. Look, it was easy, right? On paper, the specs were just meh. There was no celebration of power. There was no massive boost in performance. And I wrote about it. Essentially, I bitched about it. That's the proper word. And I was wrong. I was so completely wrong. You see, Subaru, the auto brand that has one of the most loyal buyers, knows exactly what they're doing. Small though they may be, they know exactly what they are doing. And if you've watched a few of my videos, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And if you have, you may have noticed that I do get overly emotional. I allow the passion to just overrun me. And it's exactly what happened with the Rex. And that's exactly what's happening now as I'm in possession of a brand new 2022 WRX. And when I say Subaru knows exactly what they're doing, is that they delivered the WRX they were supposed to deliver. It feels like a WRX. It drives like a WRX. It looks like a WRX. Notwithstanding, it's essentially perfect. It is also a bargain. It is, I've done this countless times before, but if you're in the market for a sport compact car, well, hello or goodbye to you too. There are no other alternatives. Never mind the GLI, the GTI, never mind the Elantra N and N-Line, never mind the Forte GT, never mind even a Mustang EcoBoost. Just no. For the price, you cannot, there is no way to beat what the WRX brings to the table for the price. I really am ashamed to have come down so hard on the WRX last year when they revealed it. I mean, look, to put it into perspective, kind of the passion that drives me. I mean, just before I do that, okay, I still have a poster of the WRX, which was inserted in some magazines and newspapers in the late 2000, not 2000s, but in late 2000, that announced that the Bug-Eye WRX was coming in spring of 2021. It's on the floor in my office, and I look at it every day, multiple times a day. I mean, I was a massive fan of the WRC in the late 1990s, and I mean, I had to wait 12 years before I purchased my own WRX, which I sadly miss. But that car, and then the generation after that, 08 and on, and then 15 and on, it's so perfect. What was I going to say about the passion? Oh yeah. Like the Integra, Acura's decision to bring back the Integra. I mean, the car is exceptional, obviously, but I'm still angry because they brought back the name Integra. But this Subaru did what they had to do. Anyhow, look, again, all kinds of rambling and BS. Apologies for that. In the following video, we'll do the lap, and then we'll drive it and soak in the WRX experience, which is second to none. And again, in this package, well, not this exact package, but almost as is, it's an absolute bargain. Hang in there, please. When I say this is the exact WRX that Subaru was supposed to build, I mean, it shows in the evolution, the relative timid evolution of the design, but that's very Subaru. So hence, very Subaru, supposed to be the new WRX, this. Now, the whole front end, I mean, it is a nice evolution of the previous generation car. I mean, yes, okay. So the bitch fest, other than what's going on under there, which I'll touch on obviously, is the cladding. And it's, I don't know, it's trendy, it's unnecessary, and I can't help but think that Subaru Canada decided to deliver this press unit in magnetite gray to partially or almost mostly camouflage the flares. I don't know, it's just a design thing. You like it or you hate it, it doesn't really matter. It's been said before, I mean, in person it doesn't look as cheesy, I suppose, the way to say it. And I mean, as you come around, I mean, I love the overly aggressive rear bumper. I mean, how everything kind of sticks out. You can really see it this way, and they used some kind of textured plastic. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's fine. It works really, really well. It's fine. It really is fine. And in true WRX, despite this being a Sport Tech top trim, it only has a very small, well, not quite integrated, but added on spoiler on the rear lip spoiler on the trunk lid. I can speak English good. Okay, now when I said that the ideal version it's the base car, for $30,995, you get 99% of what you see here. You get the engine, you get the suspension, you get the brakes, you get all of that. It's all there. So that's the base price in Canada. In the US, $29,605, which is kind of surprising that the gap is so small. And it gets better because the Sport Tech with eyesight, that's what the SPT, yeah, I gotta be harsh anyway. In Canada is $41,895, whereas the GT equivalent in the US is $42,395. I don't know why, but why not, hey? We can catch a break sometimes in Canada. This model right here, if you know anything about the Rex, it's got the 18, so automatically you know that it's a Sport Tech. Now, before I go on with that, the base car has the 17-inch wheels, got heated front seats, got the twin 7-inch setup with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius satellite radio. So it's all there. That's just what you need with the power and the symmetrical all-wheel drive system. The other problem with the base car, I mean, other than the cladding, okay, let's move away from the cladding, is that the base car is only available in white or gray or black. That really pisses me off personally, because that's the car I would get, and I don't want the white, gray, or black. Fine, my Type R is gray, but it was only available in 2 colors, and I bought the last one available in Canada, and it was only gray left. But then when you move on to the other trims, you do have access to World Rally Blue, hello, the color, Solar Orange, which was one of the introductory colors, which works really well, but makes the flares pop, the wheel flares. Ignition Red is kind of cool too, but for that, you got to spend more money. But here's the kicker, right? If you go into the Sport, up from the base car, it's $4,500 jump, and you get the 11.6-inch screen. I'll show that to you in a few moments, sunroof and LEDs. $4,500, okay? So you swap the 17s for 18s, aftermarket wheels, NK, Vogue, whatever, and then you wrap it. And you're still saving money, well, maybe not with the wrap, but it's okay. See, this is what I mean. I get carried away, I get stupid. Okay, so this is the Sport Tech, as I said. It's a 6-speed manual because that's the only way to get this car. And it includes the 18-inch wheels, ultra suede seats, keyless entry, and all that. Okay, so let's just complete the tour as we do on this dog and pony show. So that's 354 liters of trunk space. It actually seems like a lot more than that. It works. The opening is a little narrow, as you can obviously see down there. But depth-wise, it's actually pretty good, depth-wise. And the opening here, you can actually fit a golf bag if you had to. So that works out quite nicely for those of us that are slightly more mature in age. Okay. So back seats. I mean, these compact cars are not compact anymore. Look at the size of the opening there. It's really great. This is the Impreza, right? I don't know why I'm showing this to you. All right, there's a shot of the suede. It's actually quite nice, I have to admit. Here are the rear seats, USB ports in the back, but that's not important. So other things you get with as you move up into the Sport, from the base car to the Sport Tech, these sportier seats. I'm pretty sure the base seats will do 99% of the job for a lot less money. fit and finish and the switch gears is very, very Subaru. I mean, it's essentially all lifted. A lot of the stuff is lifted from the previous generation car, which has existed in the current Impreza for a number of years, since 2018 when the Crosstrek came out, if I'm not mistaken. So let's slide on inboard and start her up. If you're familiar with Subaru, you'll immediately recognize the sound of the starter. It's fantastic. You know what? While I'm here, this is the 11.6 inch display, which is common across the entire Subaru product line. And the more time I spend with it via driving various models, be it the Outback or the Ascent and so on and so forth, it's getting worse and worse. It's not very intuitive. The menus are Subaru-like, where they're different than from everyone else in some respects. I mean, it works well. I did have a little bit of a problem with CarPlay earlier, but whatever. Gone, just in case. You know, there's always a pod up here for the Rex, so it's gone because the data shows up here now, which is fine. It's okay. Very typical gauges Subaru. I love the layout. There's a familiarity. Spokes are a little too fat, I think. I don't know why. I mean, when Porsche starts installing spokes that are this fat or this fat in their cars, then everyone else can do it. Until then, a real sports car with a steering wheels has to have thin spokes. I've said my piece. Storage is decent. Storage-ish. As always in a Subaru, visibility is excellent. I mean, even when you come around, look how thin there are. I can't think of another car that has such thin A-pillars. Look at that. How great is that to look into your apex and even through it onto the next apex as you're taking a corner. I love Subaru's thinking that way. The shifter too. I mean, the Subaru experience, right? It's notchy, kind of heavy. Not the most precise, but it's perfectly Subaru. Perfectly Subaru. Reverse, right? Just in case you wanted to know. So that's it. That's the interior. So now it's time to make that flat 4 roar. You have to be familiar with the WRX in order to appreciate it, I think, as much as I am right now. But even if you're not, just the very basics, the bones of this car are exactly what, I'm kind of repeating myself, but are exactly what a WRX, or it's exhibiting WRX specific behavior, right down to the clutch, the sound of the engine, even though things have changed dramatically under there. The way it shifts, the way it brakes, it's incredible. When I picked up the car, I just got, I think last time I drove a WRX, previous gen, 2 years ago, or has it been 3 already? I said it was like an old friend because I've had a WRX and I've driven every generation that has been offered in North America from new. And I don't even know where to begin. This is a very emotional thing for me, and especially having flip-flopped so dramatically from being upset with what Subaru had done to now being, well, only a kind of partially upset about the flares and the lack of color choices in the base car. But beyond that, everything is perfect. Look, and this. You know what? I can do this. I'll get this out of the way right now. I wouldn't buy a WRX because of this with equipment. I would deal with the base car's twin 7-inch display and be very happy about it. In fact, I know I would like it much, much more than this 11.6 display, 11.6 inch display. I've already touched on it. Okay, so we move on. So first things first. The new 2.4, well, the 2.4 liter turbocharged engine that you'll find in every Subaru product today is so perfectly adapted to the WRX. It is most at home in this. I loved it in the Outback XT and the Wilderness. It does a great job in the Ascent. But I think in the Rex, it is where it belongs. From the very, it's where it belongs. The bitch fest was due to the fact that it only produced 271 horsepower at 5,600 RPM, only up 3 from the previous 2-liter, which produced 268 horsepower as of 5,600 RPM as well. Torque is unchanged, 258 pound-feet from 2,000 to 5,200 RPM. But the difference, and it's a little... The difference, from what I remember from the 2-liter, this, or at least it's better than any of the previous 2.5 turbos, is the fact that it'll pull all the way to 6,000. Engine redline is at 6,100 RPM. It'll pull all the way to the redline. It's rewarding and smile-inducing. As you see the revs climb, it's great. I mean, compared to my old Bug-Eye Rex, I mean, come 5,000 and change RPM, like 52, it would start choking on its own saliva, like not knowing what to do with itself. The power curve would taper off almost immediately. This, it's sustained, it's held. I mean, max torque is up to 5,200 RPM, and max horsepower at 5,600 RPM. There's a little bit more power. Oh, there's also a little bit more weight while we're at it. Global platform, finally, WRX. Overall, if you round out all the versions of the Rex, the new one is about 50 pounds heavier. So effectively, there is no real world change, 3 horsepower more, 50 pounds more, whatever. But that's purposeful because it maintains the WRX as such as a WRX. The sound of the flat 4 is unmistakable. I mean, there are a lot of changes under there too. I mean, you won't be able to make this one growl like the previous gens with the unequal length headers and all that stuff. And someone will figure it out, but or probably has already. Sadly, I'm too busy. I don't follow all that tuning stuff anymore. But look, the power is great. And the 6-speed manual transmission is what I was trying to show you, is that it's notchy, clunky. It reminds me a little bit of the Elantra N, where it's not trying to be refined like, say, a manual transmission in a Honda, and not as soft and forgiving as one in a Volkswagen. And it even does what the previous engine did. As far as boost, the 2.4 boosts at 12 psi, whereas the 2-liter boosted at, I think it's 15.9 psi. So it's a little bit lazier, and with the extra displacement, power is lazier. So it's not as high strung. I mean, look, I'm in 4th gear. I'm just rolling onto the throttle, and the boost builds, and the torque rolls in, and I'm doing highly illegal speeds in flash, in the blink of an eye. The shifter, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. If you want drive modes, you got to get the EyeSight with the Subaru Performance Transmission, which is a CVT. You'll get paddle shifters, yada yada yada. But you won't get a faster car, unlike many other manual versus automated or automatic transmission car. This is rated at 6 seconds, 0 to 100, whereas the SPT is rated at 6.1. So effectively, there's no difference in the performance. Fuel efficiency, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. And this might seem weird, but the most striking resemblance to my old Rex, despite upgraded brakes and, well, having driven all the other cars, is the brakes. There is no brake pedal response. It's so wooden. You really have to roll into it in order to get something going. I love that feeling. I mean, it's something you have to get used to, and if you know WRXs, that's the way it has to be. The other thing too is you have to. Jeez, it feels gooder. There you go. I English good speak. Vas-y, Monsieur Travers, you can do it. Yes. All right. And the suspension, look, it is tuned. It is better tuned than ever thanks to the ultra stiff global platform. There's still plenty of dampening going on, plenty of roll, like entertaining, amusing roll that lets you know that things are happening, weight transfers are occurring, allowing you, the driver, to know how to react to, changing driving conditions. And the ride quality is exceptional thanks to the platform and the suspension, with plenty of wheel travel. And the steering too. It's amazing, the steering. It feels like my old car. It's just nuts. And true to Subaru form, I mean, even with the wheels straight, the steering wheel is just off by like 2 or 3 degrees, just enough to notice it and become annoyed. With my car, no matter how many times I got out of the line, I could never get the steering wheel straight. And in the past, I remember driving Rexes and STIs and other cars, even I think a Spec B going back in the mid 2000s. I love all of that, and Subaru, just never stop being Subaru for these cars. You do what you got to do with the Ascent and the Forester and the Outback, because you got to sell them to make some money. But holy crap, in this segment, I kind of touched on the competition, GLI, GTI, Elantra N. I mean, you could throw in the Kona and all. What else am I missing? Forte GT, Mustang EcoBoost. I mean, there aren't that many Civic Si. Here's how I'm going to end this, kind of. Above all, those cars for $30,995. That's it. There is no if, ands, or but. Check your oil level regularly. Do the maintenance that is required. This is the bargain of a century. It's one of the absolute cheapest. I mean, compared to the Elantra N I just drove, this thing is, I mean, there's an almost $6,000-7,000 difference between the two. Doesn't compare. I ramble. If you want something a little bit more dynamically involving when you drive, Civic Si. Otherwise, WRX. Period. Case closed.